Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Gary. I hope you've all had a good weekend. Welcome back to the Sunday Club. Have you all had a good weekend? I have. I've just had my roast dinner, got my cup of tea, and yeah, we're back again. So welcome. Hiya, Josh. Again, I don't know what I've done with my chat here. I used to have the chat up somewhere else, but it's moved now. So I might be looking to my right here as we go on. So welcome, Josh. Evening, CM17. Good to have you. Let me, as we're starting, I'll get the agenda. It's very formal. Get the talking points up for this evening. And let me move over to the side a little bit so you can actually see me. So yeah, what a weekend of football. What a weekend of football we've had. And we'll come on to that. In fact, what a week of football we've had since we were last online. And it was only a week ago, but since then there's been the Champions League and there's some interesting points in that, which is why the first bullet point, the first action here in terms of who is England, I can't point that way, who is England's number 10, that came up as a result of Man City and Real Madrid's clash in the Champions League. And we know we're going to get a repeat of that, the second leg again this week, but we'll come on to that in a second. So Josh Phillip on holiday currently, so everything's good. Whereabouts are you, Josh? Lucky devil. Are you still in the UK? Are you from the UK? Have you gone abroad? Excuse me, slurping my tea. I always slurp it when it's much hotter. So yeah, few things to get through. Well, it doesn't look like there's as much as what we usually do, but we're still going to be covering plenty here, and there's some stuff that some people may have missed. Eric Dyer's comments this week, which I thought were really interesting, and I put it straight on the list to talk about tonight, because is he being overlooked? He certainly seems to think he is. I don't know. Let's come on to that. The Netflix documentary as well. Now, again, some of you may have not realised this is happening, but there is due to be a Netflix documentary released on the Troubles, believe it or not, from the Wembley final, the Euro final, England versus Italy. As we all know, there were some issues there that night, and Netflix are releasing a documentary on it, essentially. But it's a very, I don't want to say romanticised, but Hollywoodised, very Americanised version of the events and dramatised version of it. Well, I think it is anyway, and I think it's completely unnecessary, but we'll come on to that in a second. And then England Player of the Week, and then who knows where else this would take us. So Josh Phillips just down on the south coast now near Portsmouth. Lovely, mate. We like going there. Love going to Portsmouth. Hayling Island. Is it Hayling Island? Yeah, I'm sure we go there quite a lot. PJ, all right, Gary. Brilliant. Trick Mitchell shout at left back. He's had a few England caps. They're better than Chilwell, in my opinion. Yeah, well, there's been some really good performances today, particularly at Liverpool. I think some of the Palace lads played really, really well. Villa were fantastic, but I just think there's probably some Palace players there that may, they're looking good, aren't they? That's where I'm staying, Hayling Island. Well, there you go. I did get it right. Yeah, lovely part of the world, mate. Yeah, we like it there. What a small world. Well, the UK is small, isn't it, compared to other places? But yeah, brilliant. Stan Gaz, Dyer isn't being overlooked. Great selection ahead of him. Sideways passers whom we don't need. Yeah, well, we'll come on to that, Stan. So I agree. I do sort of agree with that. But he's had some interesting words to say, Eric Dyer. And what I do like about it is that he wants to be there. He wants to be in the squad. He wants to be in the squad. And Anthony Gordon only a couple of weeks ago was saying he's been to squads before where he's looking in the background. Actually, none of them even want to be there. So it might sound like we take that for granted, but it's nice to have a player who's really fighting for his space and wants to play for the Three Lions. Stanners, hey up Stanners, mate. Good to have you. Dan Anderson, evening, mate. Good to have you with me. Foden at left wing against France. I don't think he performed. Yeah, it's a tough gig though, isn't it? I don't think it's... Well, I suppose we do judge him against France because they're the sorts of teams we need to beat. But let's get on with it anyway. So this week, I put out another poll. You know I like polls. I put another poll out this week on England's number 10. So there's a couple of options here. Let me get rid of the talking points and let me load up what I put. So who should play in the number 10 role for England at Euro 2024? I went just between Bellingham, Foden, both. Do we play in it? Do they both play through the middle and almost taking turns, if you like, in that attacking role? Or is it other? Is it, I don't know, a Maddison? Is it, I don't know, just any other player? Is there anyone else we're missing here? A staggering 8, there's 300 odd votes, so not a huge pool, but not small at the same time. But 61% of you have said Bellingham. And the reason why I put this on, I put it on after the Champions League game earlier in midweek, quarter-final, because Foden was better than Bellingham. Foden had a better night than Bellingham. I'm not saying he's a better player or anything like that. I do think Bellingham is a better player personally. But on the night, Bellingham didn't have the impact what Foden had. And Foden was sort of starting to play through the middle. He certainly picked the ball up in the middle for his goal. And it's a bit like, are we making best use of Foden? You would argue if you're pushing him out wide. A lot of people say he's better in the middle. But you can't. Where does Bellingham go? And I'm a firm believer here. With the both section, you can't play two attacking central midfielders. You just can't. They're going to get in each other's way. You're going to leave us light at the back. So I think it only needs to be one. And it looks like the majority of you agree with me, really, in that is Bellingham would be the number 10. Foden at 20%, so still relatively high, but Foden on the 20, and then others are... I mean, let me see what some of the other... I did get some rather interesting comments on it, actually. I'm sure someone was saying that they don't rate Bellingham at all and he should be dropped. Absolute nonsense. But let me take a look. Oh, actually tend to be quite well received on here. So, yeah, so I've got... someone's put definitely both. Grealish on the left and Saka on the right. 4-1-4-1 with Rice holding midfield and Kane striker. Foden in the number 10. Jude on the left. I don't know what Jude would be doing on the left. He's saying it... I mean, he said he's played out wide a number of times this season. I just think we're not getting the best out of Jude at all if he's out on the left. A back three with Rice and Maina as holding midfielders and Bellingham and Foden interchanging as attacking midfielders and number 10s. I don't think that interchange works. Who decides when each one of them goes? I just think it gets confusing and we're going to get caught short. Anthony Gordon, he's the only one in form, so someone said neither. Anthony Gordon comes in. Someone's put Madders, Palmer or Maddison. Someone's put Foden shouldn't even play. And then the response was, have you been smoking? That wasn't from me, it was somebody else. But then the reply to that was, I simply look at his record for England. He only performs with Man City. If you don't give 100% for England, there are no other options. Now, I don't agree with that at all. So, yeah, I mean, we've had loads of comments on that one. So, Bellingham to play out on the left, Foden to be dropped completely. I mean, this is the problem sometimes when you put stuff out on the community page. You do get some mad ideas coming back. Let me have a look. Sorry, just a few more chats went in. It's to my right this evening, so I can't. It has to be Bellingham for me, says Josh. He's got something about him that is going to be important in an international tournament. Yeah, he's got that bit of edge, hasn't he? It's the thing that we spoke about last week, where could that edge actually be the thing that gets him sent off in a major game? But you want him to have that. He's got that fight, and he's got that physicality as well. Foden isn't physically dominating, is he? And I just like the thought of Bellingham being in central midfield more than Foden. And I think he's a better player than Foden. Hi and congratulations, Leverkusen, the wins. But yeah, I mean, there are some teams. Portsmouth, I believe, have Portsmouth gone up this? No, they haven't. Portsmouth haven't gone up. Leverkusen have won the league. Wrexham's gone up, as we all know. It's just, yeah. There's been a few. There's been a few Champions Crown this weekend. But we know that's it, Stockport. I knew there was another one. I forgot about Stockport. But yeah, no, well done, Leverkusen. I mean, that's for football, isn't it? Whether I watch German football or not, you can't have a team winning. Well, you can, obviously, in Germany, but no one wants a team winning 10, 11 times on the bounce, even though we all want to see Harry Kane win a trophy. But don't worry, because he will be winning the Euros, so I'm not bothered. CM17, this is going to sound complicated. Back three, Walker at centre, which he's done in the past. And Shaw at wing backs, box midfield with two holders and Bellingham and Foden had. I'm just so CM17. Are you suggesting a back three of Walker, Saka, and Shaw? I mean that is talk about offence being the best form of defence, if you like. But I don't think I'd be happy with that. Not what I would do, just a suggestion. Okay, that's clarification there. I'd go with Rice, Mainu, Bellingham with Foden on the left, drifting into midfield. Uncle Disraeli, Bellingham and Foden played well against Senegal. They did, yeah. I mean, and again, people say, we beat no one in tournaments. Senegal were the African Cup of Nations champions. I mean, you might say they're not, a world-beating team, but there's certainly no pushovers. And England were brilliant against them with that system. You're absolutely right. I am a Stockport fan, buzzing. Love your enthusiasm about winning the Euros, mate. It's coming home. It's coming home. Now or never. It is now. We've said this. I don't know if you've been here before. We've said this numerous times on the channel. It is now or never for England. We can't balls it up from here. Back three of Walker, Stones and Maguire with Saka, Dyer and Shaw at wing backs. Okay, which two teams do you predict will play in the finalissima? Someone's asked me this last week. I've no idea, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really care. I feel like the finalissima is made for Americans. A bit like the way they're the only people who talk about Olympics. Honestly, the finalissima, I don't think it'll become anything. I've no idea. I've absolutely no idea, and I'm not particularly bothered. It is the one tournament. It is just a glorified friendly. It may become something in the future, but it's just a tourist day out at the minute. CM17 on us. I go to Exeter game, so I'll see them play next season. Okay, so some people some lads in the chat then sounds like they've got the promotion they wanted this weekend. But going back to this, then I think, well, looking on this form anyway, most England fans have the same opinion. Bellingham needs to be that number 10 role. So let me get rid of the poll and let me load back up the talking points for this evening. So that was one thing I wanted to start off with, because it did start to make me think, hang on, he did have a good game, Foden in central midfield. Is he the out and out? Is Bellingham be the starter in that number 10 role? I was convinced he was, but I just wanted to get everybody else's opinion as well. And obviously there are different people with different opinions, and this is why Southgate is so blessed with this squad. He's literally got, I mean, he can't go wrong, can he? There's always going to be, the squad is that good, someone is always not going to be happy with what he picks because there's that many different options. Someone amazing is going to have to miss out because someone else amazing is playing in that place, and that's how fortunate Gareth Southgate is. So we're never going to have any topic. We've done the squad picks on this channel, we've done the starting 11s. We're probably never, ever going to agree on any of them because the squad depth is that strong. I've said before, 80% of people will probably have their squad or even starting lineup. It's always just 2 or 3 players that we're picking from. Awkward because it's the Lampard-Gerrard debate all over again. It is and it isn't. I mean, these two really are different players, and you could argue Lampard and Gerrard were 2 different players, but Foden and Bellingham really are different players. And I just think Foden can do an absolutely brilliant job out wide, and he has done in an England shirt in the past. So why wouldn't he play there? And Bellingham has proven in an England shirt he's got to play through the middle. He really has. Now Eric Dyer, he did make a good point. I'm gonna have to get some of this on my phone, but I'm gonna have to shut this back down again and reload up the Eric Dyer comment. So let me close that again and load up Eric Dyer. So Eric Dyer says he believes he should be in the squad. So great. I mean, that's one thing. I believe I should be in the England squad, but it doesn't mean I'm going to get in, does it? But he sort of had a point, because some of us may look at him, and I know I sort of do. You think, oh, he's a player of the past, but he's not. He's not really. And he does make a point saying, I mean, this is what he said. Since the World Cup, I wouldn't say that I have had any dip in form. And he's talking about the last time he represented England. I'm playing the best football of my career since Antonio Conte came to manage Tottenham, and I've carried it on since. And I think this is where he's right. People think I'm 37 or something, and you sort of do because he's been around forever. But I'm 30 years old, and I am nowhere near the end of my prime. Imagine that this will be my prime. So he's saying he's in his prime. He's saying his form hasn't dipped since he was last playing for England. And if anything, he's actually in his prime now and he should be getting picked. So Dyer, who made his England debut in 2015, has played at 2 World Cups and a Euro 2016 tournament. So he's been to 3 tournaments with England. And here we are, and here we've been saying... on this stream, on this channel for weeks now, we've got no centre-backs or people that can play in those sorts of positions, or we're running short in central midfield outside of now what looks like Kobe Mainoo. Phillips is crap. Henderson's, no one wants him there. And then we've got a player here who's playing for Bayern Munich, playing in the quarterfinal of the Champions League, according to him playing the best form of his career, with the experience of 3 tournaments. I'm sort of ticking the boxes for him here, but you do then start to think, well, hang on a minute. Fair point, Dyer. I think he's got a fair point. I think the problem is he's very unfashionable. He's an unfashionable player at the minute, and he always was, even back in the day, but he's even more unfashionable now because he's been out of the squad. But you can't deny those things I've just listed there. Eric Dyer is an England legend just for that penalty. I know, quality, wasn't it? My life peaked when that penalty went in against Colombia. But he isn't good enough anymore, unfortunately. Maguire, Stones, Branthwaite and Gahey should be the 4 centre-backs, in my opinion. CM17, I love Eric Dyer and holds a special place in our hearts. However, I wouldn't say he is better than the options we have. Wouldn't be too disappointed if he was called up, though. And I think that's the point. I think a lot of people are just like not even considering him. And he should be considered. Because he's playing in an area of the pitch where he can play in both areas of the pitch, where you would argue we're our weakest. He might not have gotten worse, but the competition is much better now. That's a fair point. Bayern started conceding more goals once Dyer came on. Just saying. Yeah. He's not drastically worse than the options we have. Kind of says a lot about our defence, really. Yeah, and that's the problem. That is the problem. Absolutely. And this is why you can't count him out. Asked about his chances of England recall, he said, I want to be part of the England setup and I believe that I should be part of it, that I'm that level of player. And I love that. And we need to talk about that just for a second, because there are players, and there will be players in the squad now that actually aren't that arsed. They're not that arsed if they go or not. Anthony Gordon called players out. He didn't call names out, but he called players out at youth level in his recent interview that I covered on this live stream a few weeks back, saying he used to come back from under-21s duty and stuff like that, and then he'd see one of the lads tweet out, great to represent the 3 Lions, blah, blah, blah. And then he was saying, oh, well, hang on a minute. I know for a fact that's a complete lie. So we know there's going to be lads in that dressing room who don't want to be there. But here's Dyer sticking his neck on the line saying, look, I want to go. He's really saying it publicly. I want to go. So everyone's going to know if he doesn't go how disappointed he's going to be. And that can't be underestimated. I do like that characteristic. I'm not one of these that are like, that's the thing that would tip it over. But it's just, we take for granted that every single player in that dressing room wants to be there. But remember, these are a bunch of pampered footballers. We've seen with the situation with Ben White. I'm sure there's plenty of other England players and players who play for other countries that really, they just see this as a bit of a chore. They go because, yeah, it's great, but really they wouldn't be that bothered if they weren't there or they were. And here's Eric Dyer saying, look, pick me. And I just think that's got to be mentioned. It has got to be mentioned. He doesn't want to be going on holiday. He wants to be getting stuck in. And I think fair play. But that is something, really, that only Gareth Southgate will know more about. He'll have a better feeling of who likes, who genuinely wants to be there. He will still be picking players that maybe don't show the enthusiasm because they're very good. But I promise you now, the squad he picks, there'll be players in that squad who ultimately aren't asked whether they're there or not. Uncle Disraeli, if, and it's a big if, Bayern win the Champions League and Dyer plays every game, he has to go, I would think. Interesting point. So if Bayern win the Champions League, and Dyer plays in that, obviously, I'm not talking about as we all know, Kudiswaile's not sat on the bench. If Dyer plays a key role in Bayern Munich winning the Champions League, does he force his way in? Maybe. He has also scored that free kick against Russia, one of the few highlights from France 2016. Yeah, you start to tick these off. Cracking free kick. The winning penalty in our only winning penalty shootout at a World Cup. He has never let England down in his experience. See, I mean, the chat's getting convinced. I'm turning, and I wasn't coming in here as an Eric Dyer fan. I just think when I was reading the article, he's actually right. He's got some good points here, and we need to talk about it. And I just thought, why not talk about it tonight? And I just think we just don't count him off. And I think he has been unfairly discounted up until this point. Dyer is like Ralph Wiggum. He's come out and told everyone how he feels. Not going to get picked now. Hoping we can see his reaction in slow motion. Yeah, should we? We need to live stream him when it's announced. Should we try and get some? Oh no. He's going to be just, yeah, I mean, that's harsh. But he's right, he's not going to go. I don't think he's going to go. I don't think he is going to go. I do agree with him, though. And would I pick him? Would I also, even though I'm thinking, he's right about this, he's right about that, would I pick him? No, I wouldn't. And it does feel like some England players, a bit like Danny Welbeck. Right, Danny Welbeck was almost one of those certain picks for England for a long, long time. How long has he been playing at Brighton for now? A while. And he plays good football. I think Danny Welbeck could be one of the best players of the season, scoring 30 goals a season, and I still don't think he'd get picked in the England squad. I just feel like some players go beyond it. They have that time when they're in it, and then when they're out of it for so long, it seems really, it's very rare and unusual that they can get called back up, no matter what they're doing and what their age is. And it's just, I just can't see it. He's not going to go, and I wouldn't pick him. If he does go, he'll likely be fourth choice anyway. But I mean, I'll say this: if we have an injury in centre mid or at centre back, and let's take centre back for example, you've got Branthwaite, Dunk, Gahey. These are probably the three that are most likely to go, or Dyer. Would I be least confident about Dyer out of all those four coming on? No, absolutely I wouldn't. I would pick Dyer probably ahead of a lot of them because of his experience. The same in central midfield. Let's say he starts Kobe Mainoo and Declan Rice. If either one of those two gets injured, would I want an Eric Dyer over a Jordan Henderson or a Calvin Phillips at the minute? Yeah, is the answer. So it's no different from Maguire saying that I deserve to be there. No, they're still hinting at a 26-man squad. He's got half a chance if he gets that approval. It's all gone a bit quiet. I think the 26-man will go ahead, personally. I just feel like they'd have come out and said no automatically straight away if they were going to do that. I think they're going to tell teams you can take 26 if you want to. He's been all right for Bayern. It's who he's partnered with. Hasn't been great. Kim's fallen off and De Ligt hasn't been good either. CM17 stats don't mean everything, but no country has won a tournament with centre-backs with less than 10 caps, and Dyer has 49 of them. Well, stats in that instance probably do mean something, don't they? You've got to get the defence right. Most pundits would say, most fans would say, they look at the World Cup winning teams and it always starts with they've got a good set of, they've got a good experienced set of defenders in that squad, and he certainly fits that bill. If it does get changed to 26-man squad, he should be. I think I've convinced some people here, and I'll be honest with you, I think I've convinced myself that I would now, when we look at doing our squad again, because remember, we've already done the squad on this channel, so if you want to look at what we did pick, go and have a look back at some of the other previous live streams. I think it was about 3-4 weeks ago. We've already picked our Euro squad. We will be looking at it again because it was changing all the time. This was before the latest set of friendlies, actually. So when we come to load up that squad again, and we've got 23 or 26, we'll have clarity on that as well. I think he's going to be in with a shout of going. And I've talked myself into thinking he should get a place. But is he there because no one else is better? Yes, but then that's an obvious argument, isn't it? You can say that for everybody. But it's because no one else is coming through, really. But look, some of you may do, some of you may not. I keep an eye on German football. I don't watch German football. And the vast majority of people who comment saying he's doing this, he's doing that, most of us living in England will not be watching German football week in, week out. We just won't. So it's a little bit about what we're hearing over there, you know, what's going off. And he doesn't seem to be doing too bad. But it's an interesting thing that I wanted to put forward tonight, because when I was reading that, I thought, you know what, mate? You've got a point. Fair play. I think maybe you might be in with a shout. So, yeah. And it sounds like I think a lot of you think the same as well. I think a few of you have been convinced by his words. Right. Let's go back to the list for this evening. So we've got the Eric Dyer comments, which we've done, the England's number 10, the Netflix documentary, right, and I don't usually like to talk about this sorts of stuff, but as we know, at the Euros, and I hate to talk about this final, in fact, I don't want to talk about the final, but I'm going to, because I saw a documentary, a trailer for a documentary on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it now, and it's essentially, I don't know who's seen it. You can go and find it online. I'm not going to post it in the comments or anything like that. But you can see, you'll find it. It's Attack on Wembley. I don't know what it's called, but some nonsense. It's essentially a whole film documenting what happened that day at Wembley in the final. And I think this is absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Because, and this is why, let me just read some of the comments just before I move on. Hold that thought. I watch a fair bit of German football. It hasn't been incredible, but looked decent. That's fair enough. The Bundesliga is one of the easiest leagues to defend in Europe, so I don't think he would shift well to world-class tournament like the Euros, but respect the passion. I thought it's a bit odd for Netflix to do this. Why bring it back up? Yeah, so, right. The problem I've got with this is, if you remember, I'm sure it was last year for the Euros final, the Frankfurt fans went to Italy and completely smashed the place up. It was really bad. You've got Vinicius Jr. During England's friendly games, literally crying in the press conferences because of the racist abuse he receives continuously and regularly within Spain. You've got racist chanting in Italy and troubles there. You hear nothing like that in England. I'm not saying you don't get the odd idiot, but you don't get wide-scale problems like this. When England played Germany in the Nations League last year, a load of German fans stormed the pub I was drinking in and caused a load of hassle. You didn't hear, I mean, those that were there will probably know about it. Those that are in those circles will know about it, but it didn't make big news. In England now, there's no issues, there's no problems. There was one incident at the Euros. We get it. It's the Euros final. We get it. If you speak to anyone who went to that match, as much as it wasn't great, it doesn't look great, and it looks like there's a bunch of people doing it. Anybody who went to that match, the vast majority of people that were there said they did not have a clue or did not see anything happening. It wasn't small, but it wasn't as big as it's been portrayed. And it also shows the point that I've continuously made. One incident by, you would argue, not even English fans, because the fans who couldn't get tickets, these are essentially just people from all over. Some of them could have been Italian, for all we know. It was after COVID, so there's that extenuating circumstances as well, so everyone's a bit mad. But that one incident now has become this huge Netflix documentary, and again, England fans look like they're something they're not. Yet in Europe, continuously, week in, week out, I go back again, Vinicius Jr. getting racist abuse. Imagine if you had a Premier League player sat in a press conference on international break crying about the racist abuse they receive week in, week out in England. Imagine the papers and the press on that. Just imagine it. It just would not pass by like it has done with Vinicius Jr. and nothing said in Spain. It's just an absolute nonsense. And I'm adamant, and I see it all the time in my comments about English fans this, English fans and this. The reason why everyone knows about the English fans is because everybody speaks English and reads our press. Everybody reads English. You know, if something's reported in France about the French fans, I can't read the damn thing. So I think one of the reasons is that everything about English fans is obviously publicised in English, which makes it instantly much more accessible to everybody else. But then there's this insistence by our own media to completely witch hunt against everybody. And I just think English fans, I'm sick of the horrendous reputation that English fans get compared to everybody else, when in reality, in today's age, as I speak now, watching football in England, I would argue, is probably the safest and the most family friendly in all of Europe by a country mile at the minute. But there's no one, you would not perceive that from the way it's reported in the press. So, saw a video that said the Stone Roses song, She Bangs the Drum, is the Euro 2024 song. Do you know anything about this? I have no idea. I've not heard anything about that. I'll have to have a look. I'll be honest with you. Songs and tournaments, we all used to love songs at tournaments, didn't we? There used to be a big thing. There always used to be an England song that was officially released by either someone good or someone crap. But they seem to have gone by the wayside as well. But I promise you, because I had a lot sent to me for the World Cup, loads of fans, and I mean loads, and I do mean loads of fans in pubs will make their own England songs for this tournament. I promise you. What I'll do, if I get them sent again this time, I'll put them all together on a video and I'll share them with everyone. But I got sent so many, and they're good. Like, I mean, the songs are crap. I mean, they're really crap. It's just people writing their own songs, but then they're in the pub filming them, and the video, like the filming's bang on, like really good. But I promise you, England fans seem to create their own now, because that's gone. You know, we don't seem to have official England songs anymore. I know we tend to have official tournament songs, but I don't know what it is for this Euros. I mean, it might as well be that for as far as I know. CM17, the documentary is an example of why England fans are not well regarded by others and reputation is poor. Yeah, and it's wrong. I'm not saying we're perfect. Our reputation isn't the reality. And I think other fans in other countries seem to get off scot-free continuously. Imagine, again, going back to the racist abuse that Vinicius Jr. get in Spain. If that was in England, imagine the reaction to that. But then imagine the reaction of what had been. I bet half of you can't even remember when the Frankfurt fans went to Italy and smashed the place up. Like, it was terrible at the time. Imagine if it would have a documentary on that now, and it'd still be talked about today. But it just seems a different narrative when it comes to England fans. Fits the media narrative there. It does, Colin, and that's my point. That is exactly my point. Salvador Chavez, hi, my friend. Where are you from, mate? You sound like you're from Mexico or somewhere, or South America. Still suffering from the stigma of the 80s, mate. Yeah. The theme of the documentary will be England lose another tournament, and they deserve to because they're a bunch of bad people. Exactly. That is what it will be about. And if everyone else says, all cute and cuddly, yeah, still think we are living in the shadow of the 70s and 80s, unfortunately. Yeah, and you do almost think, well, rightly so, but English football has come a long, long way. A long one. A huge way. And I'm adamant there's far less trouble in England, far less trouble in English football now than what there is on the continent. But you would not perceive that for the way it's reported. I mean, you're talking about 50 to 100 fans who stormed an entrance at Wembley for 30 minutes, and now it's got a whole documentary. It's an absolute nonsense. So yeah, it was something that I wanted to cover. I'll be honest with you, the annoying thing is, and I'm in a group chat with a lot of England fans, we're all putting it on there. The annoying thing is, we'll all bloody watch it. We'll all watch it, because I can't slag it off and then not watch it. I've got to watch it. I've got to watch it, haven't I? To see if it's actually, did they do it in a good way? Is it actually not going to be as bad as what I think? I don't think it will be. The trailer looks like it's some sort of dramatic, huge, earth-shattering event that took place, and England fans were just like, rabid animals. But who knows? Who knows how it's going to be actually delivered on the film? So I've sort of got to watch it, but at the same time, I'm really annoyed about it as well. Excuse me. So yeah, it's just one thing. I don't know how many of you've seen it. All I might have done is just advertise it even more now. But how many have actually seen the trailer for it? Because I I think there was like a teaser, and then the full trailer dropped this week. Actually, I believe. I had to finish that because it was getting cold. They should make a documentary of how a country came together after COVID through football. That'd be better. Because that tournament was a huge success, wasn't it? And for the most part, it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. And for 99% of the part, it was brilliant. I've seen the trailer, but probably not going to watch the full thing. I wish I had your strength of will, Josh. I will watch it. I won't be able to resist, which is the annoying thing. So yeah, it's just one of those that I just think, really, it's not necessary, and it wouldn't happen if it was in another country, I don't think. England Player of the Week, and there's a lot to discuss here, because some England players have had some absolutely fantastic performances. Foden in the Bernabeu, Saka was brilliant. Bellingham wasn't, I mean, he wasn't great. He was not great at all. There are some players I want to mention in terms of their performances today, though. As we all know, there's been some shocking results today. Trent Alexander-Arnold obviously did make a return today, which is good. He didn't look great, but is back, which bodes well for England because we need him playing these last few games to get his fitness back up. But today, it was an interesting... Tyreek Mitchell, I think, had a really good game today for Palace. I think he had a really, really good game, and he needs to be mentioned. I think he was really, really strong. Henderson actually played quite well as well. I mean, he did well. Henderson played really well, but let's be honest, Liverpool couldn't hit a barn door with a bazooka today. That goal Watkins scored earlier. Yeah, I mean, Watkins looked class, didn't he? And even the opportunity when he hit the inside of the post and it went out, he's just when you get the ball through to him, I know England don't play this way, but he's lethal. He's so bloody lethal in those positions. And I've been saying you can take one striker, and I wanted him to take Tony, but then you see Watkins do what he does today, and we need 26 men, don't we? We need a 26-man squad because you can't leave him at home. You just can't. But he doesn't fit the England way. Could Eze force his way back into the squad? Yeah, I think he was very good as well. Anthony Gordon had a very good weekend, yeah. Was brilliant yesterday. He's been consistent through the season and scores more goals against big teams. But again, going back to him, Anthony Gordon, Palmer, do both of them go? A lot of people are still going to say Rashford goes. I keep having this same conversation about Marcus Rashford week in, week out. But how the hell can he go? How can he go? I didn't see anything of the West Ham game today at all. I don't think there's anyone in there, though, that would... I mean, James Ward-Prowse, maybe he's one of those that might be pushing on the door, but I didn't really see anything of that today. The Arsenal game was interesting. Saka looks good, but yeah, I don't think he was that great in the Champions League, and I don't think he was that great today. And I just feel like he's not on the best of form at the minute. He just seems to make the wrong decisions. Rashford was laughably bad yesterday, and this is what I mean. He can't go. Rashford shouldn't be anywhere near this squad. He shouldn't be anywhere near it. James Maddison, he was brill. He wasn't, was he? From what I saw, they were terrible. I've been going on about picking Watkins, and I'm not going to change my mind on it. 29 goals and assists is insane, and he doesn't even take penalties. Yeah, you can't. You can't deny it. I mean, he's having a great season. I mean, Grealish, did Grealish have a good enough return? So another player who's come back this week is obviously Grealish. He played in the Bernabeu. It shows a lot about what Pep believes in him, because he's pretty much come straight back in arguably one of the biggest games of the season. So Pep clearly rates him. Bowen and Gordon go, and Rashford and Palmer stay behind. You can't... How can Palmer stay behind that? Yeah, harsh on Palmer, but I prefer Bowen, and he was class against Belgium. He was really good. But Palmer was good the last time he played for England as well. I mean, Rashford's got to stay behind. Sod him. He's absolutely useless. Absolutely useless. He can't go. He can't go. He's on terrible form. Absolutely terrible form. Who else played well this weekend? Well, another one, Gibbs White again. Gibbs White is making himself very hard, isn't it, to not pick, as is Solanke as well. Both, again, he scored fantastic goal. It's hard. I mean, Kevin Maynard, I thought Maguire wasn't too bad, as well. I didn't think Maguire was too bad. He was playing against a lot of inexperienced players there. But there's a lot of England players on form. Grealish is one of the most underrated players in the league. He just doesn't get the G+A, goes and assists a lot of. I mean, he doesn't do anywhere near enough from that perspective, and that's the problem because he's playing in such an advanced role. He just doesn't do enough. Bowen has that tournament experience as well. Already won a European competition. Yeah, Solanke keeps knocking on the door, but too many ahead of him. Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. But I don't know about you, but every single weekend I'm looking at who's playing well, who's standing out at the minute, and they're all bloody English. It's stressing me out. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing how the amount of resources we currently have available. My biggest worry now is injuries, because Foden. Nothing got announced, but Foden went off in the Bernabeu, from what I remember, and he was back on the bench today. But there was I mean, that could have been a lot worse. Saka had a knock today. That could have been a lot worse. I keep going on about this Champions League final. I don't want Real Madrid there because of Bellingham. I don't really want Man City there. And this goes back to, let me get this back up, because I'm going to keep going on to this. We need to have another look at the end of season timeline. I know we covered it last week, but I just want to make sure we've all got our heads around this. So, the FA Cup final is the 25th of May. The Champions League final is not until the 1st of June. And England play their first friendly on the 3rd of June. Southgate has to decide his squad by the 7th of June, and that's the day of the Bosnia game, and only less than a week after the Champions League final. The Champions League final is on the 1st. England's first game is 15 days later. I don't want any England player playing in that Champions League final at all. I want them all done, all of them, by the FA Cup final. 50 days till England play Bosnia. I know. It's so good, isn't it? It's so good. I cannot wait. Charlie Ivan Toney's not been starting for Brentford recently. This could be beneficial for Watkins. Well, it will be if he doesn't get games, and rightly it should. Rico Lewis outsider for left back if others are injured. I think he's well in with a shout at left back because, I mean, Chelsea play tomorrow night, don't they? Let me have a look. I'm sure Chelsea play. Yeah, Chelsea Everton tomorrow night. I mean, Gallagher and Chilwell for me are the biggest alarm bells because they were so poor. I don't know. The left back's wide open, mate. Absolutely wide open. There will definitely be at least one English player in the final. Yeah, I know. I don't want Bayern Munich. I mean, who's our best players? I mean, all our best. Saka, Bellingham, Kane, Foden, all. I mean, at least one of them are going to be playing in the final, aren't they? Which is really annoying because you don't want them there. You don't. And I know Champions League finals, to be fair, certainly over recent years, don't tend to be that bad. They're not. They're quite edgy affairs, aren't they? I don't expect an out-and-out gut-wrenching final. So who knows? But ideally you don't want anyone playing in that Champions League final game. But there will be, as we've already identified by the looks of it. So yeah, it's coming up now, isn't it? It's the 14th of April. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 9 weeks. 9 weeks from today, England play against Serbia. In fact, 9 weeks right now. It's 8 o'clock. So 9 weeks from this very moment, England 15 minutes in against Serbia. I can't wait. I mean, that's mad. So there were no Sunday club that Sunday, or there will be actually after the game. I'll probably do a live stream after the game. But it won't be at 7:30 that night because I'll be watching it. But I will. I've said before, I will be doing a live stream after each match because I just think I can't wait for that. I think that's what I'm most looking forward to. How good will it be just to jump on and all have a chat about the game after? Still no Shaw yesterday. Think he's going to be really struggling. I don't think. Shaw for me. Does he go? I mean, if he's not back in the next couple of weeks, he's not going to be fit, is he? Can't it just be now? Yeah. Where are you watching the first game, guys? I've got two options. I could still go on a bus to Germany. I don't know if I'm going to do that though. What I'm probably going to do is what I did for the World Cup. I set my garage. I clear everything out of my garage. There's not a load in. I clear my garage out. It's got heating and electrics in it and everything. I put a big projector screen up. I make it into like a little bar, surround sound. So basically, I have like my whole garage to watch the game, and then invite people around. Ends up in chaos. I love it. It's quality. So yeah, I'll probably do that. Probably set it up in my garage again. It doesn't sound great, but it is. Trust me, it's mint. It's quality. It worked really well, particularly when the weather's hot. Like, I mean, 8 o'clock in another how many odd weeks? 9 weeks. I mean, if it's hot, barbecue outside, quality. Sure, playing half injured is better than Welsh full strength. Well, based on the performance against bloody Brazil and Belgium, I'd take that. I would. But we need another left back. Maybe Rico Lewis is the answer. I don't think Gomez was, but not that great. Gary been asking everyone this question. Before a ball is kicked, an England player will get one of these, the golden ball or the golden boot. You can only have one. Which do you pick? Boot. Yeah, boot. Means then surely we're off with a chance of winning the damn thing. The golden ball? What's that? Is that the player of the tournament? Do you mean the Ballon? I don't know what you mean there. I want the England. At the end of the day, if we've got an England player who's the top goal scorer, we're likely to win the damn. Well, not likely to, but you're in more with a shot of winning it, aren't you? I mean, he's got to. I'm just looking at the timings here. He's got to. It is now or never. Golden ball. Players only get that if they win the tournament. Kane won the golden boot and went out in the semis. I know, but to be honest with you, if we win it, I mean, I will say this, and I've said this about the Ballon d'Or for years. I think individual awards in football are embarrassing. It's a team game. How can you have a Ballon d'Or? I get it, like Messi and Ronaldo when they were dominating it. I get it, they're amazing, but they couldn't do what Jordan Pickford did. And it's still football. And that, I know it's a really daft example, but the idea of individual, I use that example to show the mockery of individual awards within football. It just does not make any sense for me. By all means, give them an award for most goals, because you can statistically mark it. The best footballer, I mean, Declan Rice can do something that Jude Bellingham can't. Who's the better footballer? I don't know. Golden ball is the player of the tournament. I'd go ball as it's more likely to have a player go long in the tournament. Kane got the golden boot and only scored in the group games in 2018. Yeah, my favourite England. It's a hard one. I mean, at the end of the day, if we win the damn thing, I'm not bothered if an England player doesn't win the golden ball or the golden boot. I just think the golden boot because I know if there's a golden boot, I've had lots of opportunities within that tournament to celebrate an England goal. And I'm going back to that 6-2 victory against Iran in that home. I mean, that is, how good was that? I don't give a damn who scored, but the fact that I can celebrate 6 goals. So I just want goals. I just want England scoring goals. So I go for golden boot. or an England player scoring goals. Who is your favourite England player? It's a tough one, that. Probably Kane or Bellingham, which doesn't sound absolutely shocking. You know, it's not a huge surprise. The third one might surprise people, though. If we're going on... do you mean on all time? Because Stanner's just coming with Neville. If we're going with all time... If we're going with all-time England player, I'm going with Beckham. Because I just remember watching him growing up, and I've never... A player who literally dragged England through games, wore his heart on his sleeve, scored some important goals. It's not Neville. It's not... Which one? Phil or Gary? Gary, have you thought of creating a Discord server where we can all chat during the week? I have. I've not set one up yet. But I have. Bloody Gary Neville and Beckham down that right. All Gary Neville would do and was too busy eyeing up Beckham's legs. But no, David Beckham. David Beckham was quality in an England shirt all time. Currently, it would be Bellingham or Kane or Pickford. I love Pickford for England. I love it. A favourite England moment of all time, then Beckham versus Greece for me. That is harder. That is I'll be honest with you. My best England moment is probably Dyer's penalty against Colombia, because that genuinely felt like, hang on a minute, something's different now. And it just felt like it was a time when England were going to start to do things that we'd never done before. And it proved right. And I just never forget the buzz I got. I was so high after Dyer scored that penalty for about 4 weeks. And it just felt quality. And there's loads of time. There's a few I could pick out. There are a few. I mean, some people... It would have been Luke Shaw's goal in the final, but obviously because we will go on to lose it, I've never watched it back since. But that Eric Dyer penalty, it just felt like the turning point for this current England team. And I feel like if we go on to win the Euros, in the context of England's history, I feel like that is the moment when I would look back on and think that is when things started to change for England. So for me, that goal is not only the most important, but just by far one of the best moments, like the best goals I've ever saw in an England shirt. I was dreading him taking it to Dyer of all people. Pickford's save against Colombia for me. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that today. That absolute wonder save he made before they scored, though, that would be up there if they didn't then go and score from the resulting corner after. But that save was unreal. Or you're talking about his penalty save, because his penalty save was just as good. Every prediction video I've seen it is England-France semi-final. I think there are a few teams who can beat us, but only France can outplay us. I'll be honest with you, France didn't outplay us, though, in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. I think we had more of the ball. I think we had more than enough opportunities to not lose the game. And I've always said this. Looking back on that game, I think we could play that game again, exactly the same, and I think we'd win it. Yeah, Trippier's free kick, that was pretty class as well. But the thing is, about Trippier's free kick and Shaw's goal, because we went on to lose the match, it loses that fantasy about it, doesn't it? So that's why they're not quite up there. Earliest England memory, mine was when I was 9, losing to Uruguay in 2014. Okay, this is going to show everyone's age now. Penalty saved by Pickford against Colombia, it was quality. I just think that Dyer, the penalty going in there, it just never felt like anything was going to change until that went in. And when he did it, and it was a crap penalty and all from Dyer, I think it weren't even in the corner. It just felt like, and it's proven to be such a monumental changing point for England. Pickford save against Jorginho deserves a shout as well. Yeah, my earliest England memory is I remember watching. I can barely remember the game. I've seen it since, obviously, but I can barely remember the game at the time. But I remember watching the Euro 1996 final, not final, Euro 1996 semi-final against Germany, when we lost on penalties. And I only remember it at the time, and I remember wanting England to win, but I was watching it with my stepdad at the time, and when we lost, he threw the TV remote at the wall, and the batteries fell out, and it all smashed up, and I started to cry. So I was only 5 or something like that, 5 or 6. So that is the earliest memory. The earliest tournament I fully remember, like I remember growing up and thinking I was waiting for weeks for it, was World Cup '98. I do remember Euro '96 because it was in England, and I remember my dad picking me up. It was a Castrol GTX book on the Euros, and it had all the breakdowns of the groups, the matches, and I remember reading that all the time. But I don't remember as many games from Euro '96 because I was so young. But I do remember that moment when we got knocked out. But the full tournament I remember absolutely everything about was World Cup '98. I remember watching England at yours, Gaz, and your dad was going mad at the TV. Yeah, he loved it. It must have been my stepdad, mate, Steve. He loved it. He absolutely. I'll be honest with you. He's probably the reason why I love England so much. I used to love watching England with him. He is probably the reason why I'm really into watching England. PJ showing my age now. Gaza, Scotland, Euro 96. Yeah, same for me. My earliest memory was 4-0 win against Lithuania in 2014 when I was 6. Harry Kane scored his first goal for England that day. Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of tears, Gaza. There's been plenty of tears after that, even as an adult when we've got knocked out. But I remember crying because I was so... Yeah, it just made me jump, and obviously I was upset England went out. I was upset that my stepdad was so upset and he'd smashed the TV remote. I just remember crying him and my mum having a go at him. But I do remember, yeah, horrible, God, and so was the start of 30 years of pain watching England get knocked out of tournaments. Pia's penalty against Spain in '96. His celebration was 6 years of pain being unleashed. Yeah, it's quality, wasn't it? Love Maguire's header versus Sweden purely for the commentary. If one Harry doesn't get you the other way, yeah. England versus Ghana friendly in 2011 was my earliest memory. Do you remember the England medallions 1988 sold at Sainsbury's? Yeah, I think I do. There was something else that I found in a box from World Cup '98. What was it now? I'm going to have to dig out some of my old stuff. But it was so good. It was just all that songs and all the crap you used to be able to get from supermarkets and in cereal boxes. I don't know if they do it now, but it just seemed like there was a lot more going off. Just little things that were going off back then. Oh, no worries, mate. I'm just picking up your text, Stanners. I need to have a chat with you about your shirt. Yeah, I need to pick one of them up. Mine was a San Marino goal, 7 seconds on 93. Do you remember the England? My first memory was Heskey doing stepovers against Algeria. Bloody hell! Which game? Which year was that? You're talking about the World Cup? The original set of medallions had Gaza before Hoddle dropped him. Who remembers the coins? The silver coins that you used to get with all the squad. It was for the World Cup '98 with Glenn Hoddle and all the squad on it. They were quite cool. And I know someone who's got loads of them around now. I've got a couple actually that he gave me. But yeah, there were loads of really cool stuff like that knocking around at the time. And yeah, it's just 2010 World Cup. I mean, 2010. It's mad, and it's quite interesting actually looking at everyone's earliest memories. I mean, usually anything over, it depends when you're born, but anything over 5 or 6, that's probably your first tournament you remember. Worst England memory, the Iceland game's pretty up there, isn't it? It's that and the loss to Germany as well. That wasn't nice. I'm trying to think what else. it's weird. It does feel like 2018 was a massive tournament for England. It's like we finally started sitting at the big boy table with it. Yeah, and that's what I mean. It just felt such a like special moment, that Dyer penalty. And I think I can never not. I mean, there's a few goals that I can't watch back and not get a bit goosebumpy about. But that Eric Dyer one, I could watch it 30 times in a row, and I would love it still. It's just. It has that specific moment in time where you know stuff's changing. Yeah, the Iceland game's probably is the worst, or pretty close to the worst. It just shouldn't have happened. I mean, that second half against Iceland is the worst I've ever seen England play by a country mile. Anybody else smell this? Yeah. It's like the new book smell. Just all the. I mean, I don't know if anyone's actually tried doing the Panini sticker albums now. It's such a con, and they're so expensive, and they released them so early. I'm sure one of the lads put on the group chat. There's a lad in the England squad who no one's even ever heard of, and it's just a joke. I don't know why they don't release them after the tournament. Sticker albums and Pro Star figures were amazing back in the day. Yeah, it's like 50p a pack of stickers now or something stupid. Talking of sticker albums, Topps have ruined it this year. Feeling old here. Was not confident. Yeah, I mean, sticker albums are one of those things I wish they were big still. Yeah, Wales are in the album. It's just a joke. It is just a joke. And I think you're looking at, even if I think I had a look for the World Cup because I wanted to do them again, but I was reading online that even if you bought so every pack you bought had the players you needed in it, so you only bought the exact amount of stickers you needed to fill it. So bearing in mind the odds of that are impossible anyway, so you're going to get spares and stuff. So even if you bought every single pack that you bought had the stickers you needed, it would still cost something like £500. So the minimum it would cost you to fill it is 500 quid. And you just think, what a joke. What an absolute joke. Russell feeling old here. Yeah. Go on, Russell. When's your first tournament? I'm sure you've told me this before. They don't have the rights for the Germany. No, it's just a joke. Which three players do you think will have the best Euros for England? I don't know. There's always usually a player who comes out of nowhere and has a better tournament than what everybody thinks. If Mainu goes, I think he might be the standout. I keep putting all my eggs in one basket with him. But I just feel like if he goes, I feel like he's going to have that. He's going to be one of those players that makes himself known at the tournament. I really do. 1 second, let me go to that. There we go. Foden and Stones both on in this England Euro sticker, but yeah, it's just, I don't know why you would buy it. I've heard a lot of stuff about this sticker album, and it's just put me off instantly from getting it. I have a lot of friends in mainland Europe, and since 2018 they have a totally different attitude towards England. We are not a team any of them want to be drawn against anymore, and it's a nice feeling. Yeah, there is. It's definitely changed. It's definitely changed. And I think from that, it was all about the time when you had that Nations League win in Spain as well. And it just felt like that was the thing that... I know we haven't won anything yet, but it got that monkey off our back from being a good team to one that should actually be competing for trophies. And England were in that good team area for a long time where we always felt we should be competing for trophies, but never were. And now we are. I feel like now we genuinely do go in with a chance of winning it. Colin, honestly, from what I understand, there's players in there that, play for the dog and duck. It's an absolute farce, so just don't buy it. Yeah, they've messed it up big style, Josh. It's a joke. I remember my parents talking about the Argentina game in '86, more so for the Falklands, but remember watching us beat Turkey 8-0 on the telly in '87. Yeah, good 10 years before my first tournament, I remember, I think. I mean, I wasn't even born then, mate. But no. I mean, England's end of the day, unless you're 15, 16, you've only ever known. I mean, even then though. But unless you're 15, 16, you've only ever known England in pain, in pure pain, and crushing disappointment, and to the point where, you know, we do nothing in tournaments consistently. Apparently, Panini might be releasing a special edition for England, which I might have to collect instead. Okay, I'm sure you can actually. I'm sure you can actually buy it and ask for all the stickers you need. Like, you don't have to go and get random ones. You can, I think, literally apply for all the stickers that you want. So you're guaranteed to complete the book, but I don't know what that costs. A lot, anyway. But I haven't got the oldest. I think I got rid of all my international sticker books, but the youngest, or the oldest, sticker album I've got, 93, 94 Premier League one, I think. And it's 99% complete. Apparently, so I remember ripping up Ronaldo's picture from a magazine after the 06 shootout, lost to Portugal. Yeah, I was camping at that time. That was awful as well, because of that brat. But anyway, just looking at the time, so I've still got the Mexico '86 sticker album. Yeah, like I said, I think a lot of the things that a lot of people keep hold of. I know I've also got a lot of while we're on it, because I will be discussing it later on, but wall charts as well. We'll do it wall charts as a talking points 1 week, because I absolutely love a wall chart, and I might ask you all just to send me pictures of some of your previous wall charts you've had, because I love them. I absolutely love them. I'm a right geek for them. The post-Sven pre-Southgate era was an absolute shit show. And fan apathy was seriously starting to creep in. It just felt like it just felt like nothing was ever going to change. We should have been doing this, but it never really took off. And I stand by it. That goal that Dyer scored, that penalty, it just felt like that was the true opportunity for things to start to change for England. And I know that in terms of us winning the tournament, but still, we've gone on another step now. The next step after this now is winning the damn thing. Worth a bit, that. MKH, I've got one too. So I didn't realise they were worth a bit, Russell. I'll have to dig out some of my stuff. Oh, I love a good wall chart. Yeah, so do I. I mean, the quality. I do like the wall charts, though. I'm very particular. I'm a right fussy bugger. But I like the wall charts where you can actually write in the full group, the goal difference, the losses. Some of them, because obviously sometimes they're so big. The Euros ones tend to be easier, because the World Cup ones, there's too many teams and ain't too much information they want to put on. Sometimes you don't even get to write the group in at the end. And I don't know, I mean, the wall charts when the World Cup goes up to 1 million teams for America, it's just going to be a joke. I mean, they're probably going to ruin it, if I'm honest with you, because I don't know how they put it all onto one massive poster. But yeah, I like the ones where you can fill everything out. So when you open it back up, you can see where the group's finished and how many was scored and all that sort of stuff. So not all wall charts are created equally, I want to say to that. Will you create Discord before the tournament? Would be great to keep up with the England chat during the week. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I've also thought about I need to have a look. But you can create like a WhatsApp community thing, can't you? I need to have a look a bit more into that, because the reason why, because I'm following a couple of the England ones, so I might look at that as well. I know it's a bit of a one-way dialogue. So yeah, but it's another area where I'm looking at as well to keep things ticking over. There's new Southgate will call up Carl Rushworth, Swansea goalkeeper from the Championship. At the end of the day, whoever the third choice is, it wouldn't matter anyway. Wouldn't matter if it's, I don't know, Madonna. They're not going to get a game. I don't know why I said Madonna then. Wouldn't matter. So I wouldn't be bothered. I mean, if he calls up Pickford and then goalkeeper, then whoever the third goalkeeper is, I wouldn't be 100% against him not picking three goalkeepers. If we only had 23 men, but sod's law would get injured. But right, an hour and 8 minutes. I mean, again, we've only had 4 points here, and we're an hour and 10 minutes in. I will be dropping this. I've had a bit of a quiet week since the international break. Next week there will be a video going on my final video for the previews for the Euro group, so that will complete my fixture list for the Euros. And then I might do just a deeper dive into England's squad or something else. I'm going to come up with some video ideas over the next couple of weeks before dropping the preview videos for the June fixtures. And then I probably will drop in plenty of time a prediction video for England's group matches, each one of them. So I'm going to cover each of the group opponents separately, which I've already done. I've already done Denmark, I believe, and who have I done? Who have I done on my channel? I forgot who I've already covered now. Amazing how much you forget. So I know I've done Denmark, and I have done Slovenia. So I've just got I've just got one more to do there, and then I'll put some more videos on as well. Borderline is Lex Madonna. Yeah, you have to have 3 according to the rules. Oh, dear. No, do you? I'm sure you can take 2. I'm sure in the past squads have taken 2. But anyway, right. Lovely all. Thank you all so much for joining me again. I think these live streams have been brilliant since I've started them. This is, I put episode 11. I put E11 at the end of each one, or E in something, just so I can keep track of how many we've done. But it's 11. I mean, it's not quite on the bounce. There was 1 week I missed, but it's essentially 11 weeks on the bounce now. I'm really enjoying it. As we get close to the tournament, it's going to get better and better. And as I said, during the tournament, as well as dropping videos, I will then be doing live streams as well. So, yeah, brilliant. Yeah, and I hope you all have a great week. I hope whatever you've had planned or whatever you've been doing, I hope this has been some nice distraction for you, or a bit of light entertainment on a Sunday evening. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a smashing week, and I will see you all next week or on my next video. Thank you very much.